Are we live? Okay,
I
we're
think
live.
we are live. Let's see if it shows up here.
All
Ah,
right,
there
we're
we
live.
are.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Red Circle podcast with your hosts, Vanessa and Ed.
Hey,
Hey,
welcome. We're finally live.
we're doing
So we
live.
got some new things like this
Look at our
microphone.
mics.
Yeah.
Aren't these nice? Our friend Andrew helped set us up with all this cool stuff.
Yes. Yes. And then my wife, she brought me coffee.
Yay. So we're live. Thanks
Yeah.
for joining us today.
So give us a thumbs up. Give us a where you're from. Give us
Yeah.
a
And
comment and
Ed is
question.
going to be chatting with you guys.
Still
So
trying to figure all this out. So you
yeah,
guys
we're
have to bear
learning.
with us.
We're learning. And today's episode is about the coming zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, it's about the end of the world. Nothing serious.
Nothing too bad.
Nothing to worry about here. Nothing to see here. But I did want to go over a couple things. So
Okay.
I was talking to a friend, one of my friends,
Mhm.
who shall be named nameless.
Okay.
He's
Why?
one of the guys that I work out with
Oh,
at the gym.
he's legit. And
Yeah, he's
anything he
legit.
says, I'm like, tell us.
Yeah. So I was talking to him today,
Okay.
and we were talking about the biggest threat that's coming, which is not about a foreign country
Invading.
Mm.
Oh.
Guess what the major threat to the United States is before a foreign threat. Let's see if you would guess.
Well,
It's right up your alley.
our infrastructure is very weak.
Mhm.
So it like if anything goes awry, we're not going to have enough food. Like people are going to panic and that kind of thing.
No, so it's actually like an invasion. So think of invasion.
Oh, the illegals coming over
So,
the border.
so what he's talking about is he thinks that it's the cartel.
Well, the cartel's running it.
And
Are
that,
we allowed to talk about this on YouTube?
yeah, we can talk about the cartel.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about
Yeah. So a little bit of reference for our new viewers. We live in El Paso, Texas. So we have a lot of firsthand knowledge on all this stuff.
that. Down in the West Texas town of El Paso.
Yeah. So he
Yeah.
thinks it's run by the cartels. The cartels get people in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the thing he was telling me. He's like, people think the cartels in the United States are just, how do they say it? Like just in Mexico.
No.
But the cartels are international and global.
Yeah.
They have stuff in like Germany.
Yeah, they have stuff everywhere.
They run all of the bad stuff around the world.
Yes. And like even in the US, they have safe houses here that they own and that they run people through. They have agents in their pockets, like they have all kinds of stuff. They are and then all of the stuff going on the border is allowing them to make billions.
Mm-hmm. So then in that conversation he agreed with me because I made that comment. I said, is the cartel something that the American people should really, really worry about? Or is the cartel something like overrated that we shouldn't really worry about? And he's like, you're right. The cartel is the number one enemy for the American people in the United States. And the government's not talking about it. It's not on a political talking thing. The only person that's really talking about it is
it the Orange Man?
The Orange Man, the angry Orange Man on Twitter. Can we say Trump? Yeah, screw it.
We're gonna get kicked off alive.
Let's
our first
do it.
live.
Let's do it.
No,
we're gonna go out in a blaze of glory.
We're gonna go out in a blaze
of glory. We're gonna be like Bon Jovi.
We were in YouTube jail for 6 months.
Yes.
And we just got out of YouTube jail 2 days ago.
You got re-educated though.
Yeah, YouTube made me.
That's why you're stopping me.
YouTube
made re-educated.
me because I'm not going to do that re-education again. You're going to do it next time.
Okay, then
we're going to be in YouTube jail for another 6 months.
I'll come back and like the government is good.
We
trust them. Everything they say is right. Fauci is the best.
He is the best. Well, and he's right. And that's the thing that's been really interesting.
Everything on CNN is true.
Facts.
Fox News is the best.
Fox News or CNN?
Both.
Oh. Well, we also don't.
They're both propaganda.
They are. They are both propaganda. They're all part of it. Also, guys, this is a conspiracy theory channel. So just take it all knowing that.
Yeah. So, but today we're going to go into a couple of different things. So I asked them, I said, okay, so if that's true, what should we do?
Yeah.
and he sent me a link.
He's the one that sent you that link.
Mhm.
Oh, very interesting. I was wondering how you got to that
Yeah,
website.
and I didn't want to tell you, so
I like it.
so the link is you go to, let me find it. Hold on a moment. Un momento is you go to the US.
USDA.
Yeah, where is it? I have it here somewhere.
You sent it to us.
Oh, I did send it to
He
you.
sent it to us today, and it was super random. I was like, "Why are
Yeah,
you sending me the
USDA.gov.
USDA?"
USDA.gov. So you go to USDA.gov,
Okay.
right? Which is the government website, and then you go to menu
Mhm.
and you hit search, and then you put preparedness, and then you search what they have there.
Mhm.
And there is a whole entire section. It'll come up with a bunch of links like this.
Mhm.
Okay, we'll put it in the description below. And but it's USDA.gov, top button on the right. It says menu. You do a search and you just put preparedness. The second link that will come up is Disaster Resource Center.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's interesting because whenever I think of disaster resources, I don't think of the USDA. I think of FEMA. And so it was cool to scroll through that and to kind of see what they have. And it feels good that it's kind of weird because it feels good that they are prepared for something, but it also kind of feels like with all of the things, it feels like there's an underlying thing of them making it happen. I'm not saying that this is what's happening, but that's kind of what it feels like sometimes.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Well, that goes back to one of our older podcasts that we did, where we did one about. I did a whole podcast about Atlas Shrugged.
Oh yeah, great book. I like that Ed reads a lot. If you guys haven't noticed yet,
Yeah.
and that's a really good book. I need to read it.
Well, Atlas Shrugged is like
Thick.
it's thick. It's like me, thick.
Oh, with 2 C's.
Yeah. So, but in that book, so there's a one of the forefathers, I think, of conspiracies
Mhm.
is a guy by the name of John Todd.
Yes.
And John Todd, he would go around to churches and have like events or night meetings and stuff like that. And he was very much on preparedness and kind of building a compound somewhere and stuff like that. So in one of his talks, he talked about this book, Atlas Shrugged. His theory is that Ayn Rand, who's the author, had a relationship with Rothschild.
Yes.
And he asked her to write this book. And the book is a map of the end of how they plan to end the American society. So in the book, what they do is they take all of the rich elite people and they move them all to an island, right?
Yeah.
And then they let everything collapse, and they let us eaters or takers.
Yeah, they call everybody else eaters or takers.
Eaters or takers. Eaters or takers. Just eat each other. You know what I mean? And in the book, you are rooting for the elite, business owner and such, and the enemy is the book. If you read it, I think everybody should read it. It's mostly it's like makes capitalism a religion.
Oh,
and that's what Ayn Rand is all about.
She likes capitalism.
She's a huge capitalist.
Very
capitalism is her religion. And and so she makes the thing that anybody that is like doing something for somebody else in a altruistic manner is lying or being fake.
Oh, so if you're not getting paid for something.
Yeah, if there's no benefit, then why are you doing it?
Well, you feel good when you help people. Like that's a benefit. But she's like, people don't really want to do that for her.
So that's her big thing. So then she exposes these self-righteous, like honestly, everybody right now, if they would read that book, we would be in a way better situation. It's very much a libertarian viewpoint.
Do you think she'd get canceled?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And the main character is this lady, her name is Daphne Taggart.
Okay.
And she's a strong, independent woman that
Yeah.
doesn't want to have kids.
Yeah.
That wants to, so that in some regards, you know, I think American society would really appreciate her viewpoints because a lot of that independent women, that I am woman, I can do anything you
Hear
can
me
do,
roar. Yeah.
you know, that whole thing.
Yeah, Rosie the Riveter.
Yeah, and so Daphne Taggart is all that in a bag of chips.
Yeah,
she has you know, sexual relations with guys, but it's like it's like an exchange.
Oh.
It's like a transaction
in the book.
Yeah. And there's another main character. His name is Henry Reardon. And Henry Reardon very much reminds me of like Elon Musk.
Oh, so he's very wealthy.
Yes, they're both very wealthy. She's in charge of like the railroad, and he's like a steel tycoon.
Oh wow, okay.
So, but the reason I say all that is that in that book, it talks about how they plan to end the American society. And the big way that they end it is by stopping the transfer of goods and stop producing goods. So imagine if you would, Walmart stopped shipping food to your local town or city.
Literally, if Walmart stopped,
just Walmart,
so many communities would be SOA.
We are so interdependent on these big box companies.
We are 100%.
Things would not be able to function.
And I think that people got a glimpse of it in 2020.
It's just with toilet paper.
Just with toilet paper, water bottles. A man in Texas had a pew and he attacked a dude for a case of water. And it wasn't all falling apart, but it was scary and people felt like it was falling apart, and it wasn't the reality. So imagine
being real.
Yes,
I just remember that with her little fingernails.
Cardi B.
You know. So have you go into the website? The big reason he said to go there is he says you want to see how the government sees it.
Yeah, how their plan on
what
how to
they're gonna do in case these things happen.
Yeah.
Not necessarily what you're gonna do.
Yeah, but what
you want to see how government's gonna react if these things happen.
I like that.
Yeah, it was a totally different angle to come at the problem. And he's like, I study these things. He's like, this is what we do.
I love that.
And I was like, wow, that's interesting to see, because I would never think about that.
No, definitely not. How they're gonna handle it.
Go ahead.
Okay. It was really interesting I have friends that were living in when Katrina hit, with the beads and the flashing. Where's that?
New Orleans?
New Orleans, yeah. They lived in New Orleans. No, he was with the National Guard.
Oh.
So.
And they took everybody's guns.
Yeah, pews. They took them. And I didn't know that. I had no idea, but they did martial law.
They went door by door.
They went door to door and they removed people's pews. And
it was in the movie also, Freedom of Fascism.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
That's one of the movies that woke me up further.
Oh, well, this guy was very sad because there was an older woman in her house. She was protected. That was her only protection. And as a National Guardsman, he had to go in and remove her protection. And looters were going through and doing whatever they were doing. And he was like, I had to do it because it was my job, but I didn't want to do it. And I felt bad.
Yeah.
But I had to.
Yeah.
Because that's what the government wanted us to do. And I'm like, but you just left this woman alone. Like you just took her only protection, left her with nothing to help, and then went to the next door. You know, like that's crazy.
Yeah. And I think
I didn't know that they did that.
I think too that's what I was watching the Tim Pool podcast. I'm a big Tim Pool fan.
Jakey is too.
Really?
Jacob is, yeah. Yeah. He's the reason I know about Tim Pool.
So
I like Chimple.
Jake's her hubby.
My hubby.
He's my buddy. So in that in the recent episode, they were talking about a new movie that's coming out. It's about Civil War,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like so. There's another episode that we have.
Mm-hmm.
We should link to it on the bottom as well.
Yeah.
Where we talk about the fourth turning,
Okay.
the book, The Fourth Turning.
Yeah.
And
it's a great book.
Yeah. So the fourth turning, just to give you an overview, is there's 4 turnings in the books, and we're about to hit the 4th one. So the first one's the Revolutionary War, the second one's Civil War, third one's World War II, and then the 4th one is supposed to happen within the next year.
Mm-hmm.
So each turning is 80 to 100 years,
Mm-hmm.
and we're right in that thing.
The end of one.
So it could be a civil war, it could be a world war, or it could be a combination of both.
Mm-hmm.
And but that was one of the things that we're talking about, is that we think it's coming,
Mm-hmm.
right? Either a world war where we can see it, or even a civil war, or
Mhm.
a combination of both.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we would recommend to people is that they would be prepared,
Mm-hmm.
and that they would get, some type of preparedness for their
Mhm.
families, and hence what this website is.
For your families.
Yeah. So there's a thing where it talks about an emergency supply list,
Yes.
and it's a link, and you can go through each one of these things. And I just wanted to kind of go through a little bit
I
of it.
love that.
Yeah.
So it's the FDA website, fda.gov. And then when you got to the disaster relief stuff, where did you find that prepared list? Is it like
Okay.
in the beat? Is it like
So it's endless information.
they have a
on this one.
lot of it was really cool
Endless
to look at it
information.
when you sent
It's
it.
endless information.
It was like weather. It like listed out different
Mhm.
types of disasters that you could prepare for.
Yeah, let me see if I can track it to where I went. Okay, so then I went to
These cameras are really cool. Real quick, whenever it's red, that's the camera it's on.
Oh.
Yeah. So look, I'm gonna switch it over to you, and then it's over there. So Okay,
Turn this camera on.
turn the camera on.
Okay, so if you scroll all the way to the bottom,
Mm-hmm.
and it says resources,
Okay.
see here,
Yes.
and then it says preparedness and assistance resource, right? And then
Mhm.
it'll have a drop down screen, and then it says U.S. tips on prioritizing supplies PDF.
Love it.
So you can go through here.
It's a 2-page PDF.
Oh.
And it has a list.
And it has a list of things that they say that you need.
I bet you it's a good list.
Yeah. And then there's also ready.gov.
Mm-hmm.
So then this is a whole other website.
12 ways to prepare, flooding,
And then
build a kit,
build a kit.
older adults.
So right here is his emergency supply list,
Oh, that's cool.
right? What does it say? Would you like to take a brief survey? Heck no. And that also reminds us about our sponsor today,
Oh yeah.
which is what's that thing that they use? I'm just making it up. We don't have no
I'm
sponsor.
like, yeah, sponsor.
No, what is it?
If you want to be a sponsor, though, email us.
No, what's the one that hides where your IP
Oh, a
address?
VPN?
Yeah, VPN. VPN, right? So on this website, it says build a kit.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes through all the different things that you would build as a simple kit to do your family. So this is a big overview of things that you should get for your family.
That's a great resource. I love that.
And it's funny, in the front of the picture, the first thing you see is toilet paper. You see the toilet paper?
Of course it is.
That's the first thing you need is toilet paper. Okay, so it has an emergency supply list. That's your first link, and then that's a PDF, and it literally is a checkbox.
I love
So
that.
it says prescriptions, medication,
People don't think about that.
glasses, infant formula, and diapers. That reminds me of scripture.
Oh, I know what you're gonna say.
Let's see which.
I think you're gonna talk about the scripture that talks about. I don't know if it specifically says in end times, but you don't want to have an infant during end times.
Yeah.
Is
So
it that one?
yes, it is that, and it
You
says
don't want to be breastfeeding.
yeah, it says you want to have a baby on suck.
Yes.
Yes. So it does talk about that. It says run to the hills, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And woe to those who have baby on suck, something like that.
Exactly.
All right. And then it says pet food, water, supplies for your pets.
Mm-hmm. People forget to prepare for their pets. We have a lot of dogs. We have we have goats and animals, and
Mm-hmm.
so you're gonna have to prepare for them too if you want them to survive. And like dogs drink a lot of water, goats need a lot of water. So a lot of times I'm only thinking about like my family.
Mm-hmm.
No, you need to be prepared to keep your animals alive too
Yep.
if you are gonna keep them alive.
Yep. Yep. And you know what? Sometimes um, that was the other thing he talked about was he says you have to figure out a rationing.
Oh,
He's like, you got to have these conversations beforehand because
yeah.
when it happens, you're going to be all emotional and all
Yes.
scared, and you're just going to overeat, and then you're going to eat through your
Your
stockpile.
oh gosh.
Pretty soon.
And you need to talk about it when you're in a clear mind.
Hmm.
Have a smart plan.
Agree upon it.
Yeah. You know what I've done too, because I have go bags ready. I have different things prepared.
You got a bug out bag.
I have a bug out bag. I have like a huge waterproof thing full of food already,
Mm.
and like pew pew stuff that goes in the pew pews.
Mm. Okay.
Lots of stuff. But um, I have different things that around the house that I'm gonna need, and so I have a list in that big thing. So that because if I'm frazzled, I'm
Mm.
not gonna think about everything, but I already have the list in there. So I'm gonna open that up, look at the list, and say, okay, I need this, 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 this. This is in the closet. I try to keep it all together so that I don't have to run around the house getting stuff. And then I have a notebook full of copies of our house insurance, copies of our credit cards, just copies of everything. And then singles, dollar bills. Like I have like $100 worth of dollar bills. Because if you're gonna need change, people
Mm.
might not have it. And so I have like a binder with
Mm.
pictures of my kids. I need to update that of
Mm.
everything. And I yeah,
That's good.
yeah, but you need to have a list of like go get the preparedness binder because if
Mm.
you're not thinking about it, you can forget it and then you
I
bug
didn't even
out.
know there was a binder.
Well, I made one.
Well, this would probably would fit in the binder.
Yeah, it would. I have checklists like that,
Yeah.
and so I love
It's
that.
cool that we just get it from them.
I know, I love that.
The government actually did something for us.
Thank you.
This is our tax dollars at work.
Yeah.
Okay, so important family documents, like you said,
Yes.
pictures, stuff like that.
You don't think about that.
Insurance policies, identification, bank account records,
Mm-hmm.
in portfolio, in portable waterproof containers,
Yeah.
cash and change,
Mm.
emergency reference. Yeah, you're getting 10 points right here. Emergency
Yay.
reference materials such as a first aid kit,
Yeah, of
book,
course.
or information from ready.gov.
Oh,
This website that we're
of
at.
course.
You're welcome. You're welcome, America.
Ready.gov.
Sleeping bags and warm blankets
Yeah.
for each person. Consider additional bedding if you live in cold weather climates.
Hmm.
Okay.
Or wet weather climates.
Hmm.
You can't sleep in something that's wet.
Yeah, definitely not. Complete change of clothes, including long sleeve shirts, long pants, sturdy shoes.
Hmm.
Consider additional clothing if you live in cold weather climates. Fire extinguisher, matches in a waterproof container, FEMA supplies. Oh, feminine supplies. Sorry.
I was like, what's FEMA supplies? A
FEMA.
lot of times people don't think about that. So
I didn't think about that.
there are these cups. Have you seen those cups? They're like rubbery cups.
I thought of something really bad.
Oh no.
Just two girls in a cup.
Oh no.
And so there's these cups, and I was like, no, I don't want that cup.
We don't want that kind of cup. No, for feminine stuff, there are these cups that you can put in, and it catches all of the blood.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Moving right
no,
along.
but it's good because a lot of times you have the throwaway stuff, and once you use it once, you cannot use
Oh,
it
it's
again.
reusable.
It's reusable. Yeah, they're silicone, but you have to be careful with them because they create a suction. So when you take it out, you could literally damage your uterus because you're pulling it out and you're creating a suction down. So you have to be very careful with that. But and you have
Wow.
girls, so in your preparedness, and they're not at that point yet, but for the future. Look at Ed's face. Hold on. Let me put it back on Ed. Oh my god. No, but seriously, for preparedness, you need to have things like that.
Guys, can we get praise the Lord for being male?
Yeah, you don't have to deal with that.
Rock on with our bad selves.
So yes, feminine hygiene products, and it's important.
Jeez.
Hmm.
Okay,
What are you gonna get?
I think we have a little joke here.
What is it?
So it says feminine supplies,
Okay.
which I agree.
Yeah.
Personal hygiene,
Yeah.
which I agree,
Yeah.
and then hand sanitizer.
Oh, stop it right now.
Can we not get any more hand sanitizer? I'm so tired of hand
I
sanitizer.
agree.
Everywhere I go.
I know.
And then there's like those people that are like, and they do the little thing like,
It's like dripping. They have too
I
much.
just want to push them in the face.
My kids got so used to
Oh.
hand sanitizer during 2020, like when they went back to school in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And I would tell them, you don't need hand sanitizer. Go wash your hands. And I would tell
Yes.
the teachers, I don't want them using hand sanitizer.
No.
Send them to the bathroom to wash their hands.
Yeah, they lick their hands.
Well, because literally it kills everything on your hands. It
Yeah.
kills the good bacteria.
Yeah.
It dries out your hands. It's just not good for you.
Yeah, no.
You can wash your hands. I
alcohol.
agree with washing hands.
Yeah.
But you're not. And anytime my kids would see a hand sanitizer thing, they would just go up to it and get some. I'm like, no.
Mm-hmm.
We have to like re-educate them on
Mm-hmm.
stop it. If you need to wash your hands, go to the bathroom and wash your hands.
Yeah. See, after I get re-educated through YouTube, then I'll be
Yeah.
doing a lot of hand
A
sanitizer.
lot of hand sanitizer.
It'll be in every room. I'll have a little dispenser
There
in
was
case.
a whole section about hand sanitizer.
Gee whiz, hand sanitizer. You know the thing. I'll tell you a story. When COVID was like becoming lax, but we were able to go to church, but we had to wear a mask, right? Face diaper. And I would walk into the church and I would be carrying my Bible, like a water bottle, notepad, whatever, in to go to the church. And one time we were walking in, and the lady was like,
She was a volunteer.
yeah, and she was like, oh, you have to get. She would take the temperature, right?
Oh my god.
And then she would be like, okay, now you can get the hand sanitizer. No, thank you, because I don't like hand sanitizer. I never liked hand sanitizer. And she's like, oh, but you have to put hand sanitizer.
Did she malfunction?
Yeah, she was like, you have to put hand
This does
sanitizer.
not compute.
And I told her, I said, no, I'm not going to put hand sanitizer on. I was like, I'm carrying stuff. I'm going to put it down,
You had
put
your
hand
kids to
sanitizer,
measure.
and then pick it back up, and I'm just going to reinfect myself.
Mhm.
So who cares? You know what I mean? And she literally started like boxing me out.
Like you were trying to walk and she's
Yeah.
like,
And then I just kind of like pushed her out of the way,
You're
all
like,
easy,
"Go away."
you know. And my wife's like, Edward, you know? Like, nah, like,
You're like, I'm a grown man and you will not force me to do something I don't want to do.
yeah. I was like,
Mind your business.
jeez.
Yeah.
People were cray.
Have you seen that lady at church since? Like, do you think she remembers
I
you?
don't know. I always like it's funny because every time I see ushers, I'm like, is that her? Is that her? And I want to just like,
The hand sanitizer lady.
oh, something happened to your mic.
Oh, what did I do?
Uh,
I hit it. What happened?
no, he just texted me.
Oh
Andrew
no!
texted me.
What did he say?
Nar.
Can you not hear me?
I don't know. Let me ask him.
Oh no,
Oh, he's texting me.
Andrew.
Can you ask her to tighten up her cable and replug it in?
Tighten it up and plug it in.
Tighten up.
I don't know. Okay, so it's tight.
Unplug this one and then plug it back in. There's a button.
I can't see it. Andrew's the best.
Bear with us, guys. Okay, let's shove it back in there.
Did you hear that?
I heard it. It was like Andrew's back when he popped it.
Oh my god. Okay, Andrew, tell us if it's good.
Can we get a thumbs up in the chat? Oh, good to go.
Yay! Thank you, Andrew.
See?
He's the
All right.
best.
So let's go on.
I still need to play mahjong with you, Andrew.
Oh, let's do. I want to play mahjong.
You want to play
gotta bring it?
mahjong?
I want to try it.
Yeah, you'll
Mhm.
like it. I have it set. I got it for Christmas.
Okay. So then it says mess kits.
Mess kits.
MESS.
What's a mess kit?
Mm.
Okay.
Paper cups, plates, disposable utensils, and paper towels. Does that give you an idea?
I'm thinking
Maybe
food, like for
cleaning up-
food.
Cleaning
No,
up a
like
mess?
a mess hall,
Oh.
like food mess kit.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking. Because
Oh.
it's food stuff.
Yeah. So
I
maybe-
wouldn't want disposable though. So we have for our stuff, we go camping a lot, and so we have camping gear
Yeah. That's
because
fine.
I don't want to throw it away. Like I
Mhm.
want to keep it. Like, why would I use a plate that I can only use once?
You know what's interesting is in the Bible, the Jews had a system of cleaning utensils and things.
Hmm.
And one of the things that they had to do is after they would wash it, they would have to put it in sand for a day.
I'm sure there's a
It's
reason.
really interesting, right? I think like the microorganisms would like eat away.
Like bad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I dig it.
So the next was
I dig it.
paper and pencils.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay.
And
then
you need that in a waterproof thing so that the paper didn't get messed up.
one of my favorite checklists
Okay.
is books, games,
Board games.
puzzles, and activities for children.
Yeah, because you're gonna be bored. You're
Yeah,
gonna be bored in
we
the
don't
house.
we don't
in the
need no
household.
energy for board games.
Mhm.
So if you guys don't know, I am a board game nerd.
He is. You have how many board games do you have?
I don't know.
200.
Yeah, something like that.
Literally 200. And these board games are not like you don't have what's that one? What's it called?
Like
Monopoly.
Monopoly
You
or
don't
Life?
have Monopoly.
I may have Monopoly.
You think
somewhere.
so?
But so
They're very serious board games, and they're like $50 to like $200.
yeah.
He's like, yep, accurate. He's
Yeah.
a board game.
So if you're a board
nerd.
game nerd, put in the chat what your favorite board game is.
But what if you had to bug out and you had to take food over your board games? Which like top two that you would pick? You'd only have room for two.
It would have to be something that has high replayability.
Yes.
Not necessarily. And then also it might be something that actually might take a longer time.
Yeah.
Because you know what's that's a good question. I don't know.
All right, come back to it.
Yeah.
Tell me later.
Okay. So the next is recommended items to include in your basic emergency supply kit is water and non-perishable food
Yes.
for several days.
Yes.
Okay, so one thing I do have for water is I have a Berkey water filter system, which is gravity fed. It doesn't require energy. And I have extra filters for that.
Yes.
And then also I have a cup that you can put, river water in, and it'll filter it through the suction as you suck on it to get water out. And then I also have those life straws. So those things I think is just a necessity for any kit, because you know what, we may run out of, say maybe the infrastructure closes and we no longer have running water.
That's one thing people don't understand is that at the water utility area, like where they do the water, they could shut it off.
Yeah.
They could literally shut off your water. They could also shut off the sewers. So if people are flushing, it'll back up. Not all cities have that capability, but like places like Miami where they have hurricanes, to be able to not have pipes break and water mains flood and all that, they have capabilities to turn things off during emergencies. So you could have no ability to flush, and you could have no ability to get water, and people just take it for granted.
That's why I love having a pool,
Mm-hmm.
because I have gallons and gallons and gallons of water.
You do.
Just sitting in the backyard,
Yeah.
So pools are hell to deal with.
I know.
Like constantly
Last
them.
summer y'all had a hard time with your pool.
I've figured out a few things.
Yay, good.
So, but the pool has a lot of water.
One thing that I have stored up for water is bleach.
Yeah.
So what you want to do is it needs to be filtered water. Like you need to have a filter that can filter it, but there still could be, and the filter gets the big stuff out, like dirt, leaves, mud, whatever it is. And then you need to kill the bacteria and the germs that are in it, because you could get stomach issues. You could get very, very sick.
Dysentery, like in the Oregon Trail.
Exactly. You guys remember playing that?
I always died of dysentery.
Oh, darn it. And so I have bleach, but it's not just any bleach. Like there's bleach that is very thick that they use for cleaning clothes, non-splash bleach. No, you just want regular bleach. And you want to put, we'll have to find it, but there's a specific amount per gallon. And then you kind of want to smell the bleach a little bit, because if
Mhm.
there's a lot of germs in there, the bleach will get used up before it's killed all the germs. So you want to have a slight smell of bleach, but not strong, because bleach can make you very sick.
Ah,
So there's a way to do it. But I have bleach piled up
yeah.
just to make sure that we can clean things and that we can use it to clean water. And we have a well for fresh water. So we'll be using different types of things to make sure our water is clean.
Yeah. So we got a couple comments.
oh,
So kinda
oh,
cool.
oh, hi.
Yeah.
Walking Dead. Yes.
So you got it here too.
Your mics were sounding
But I
distant.
think
Now
we
better.
fixed
Aw,
that, right?
thanks,
With the
Jess.
mics. Thanks, Jess. And
It's our
then
first live. We're so excited.
we have a guest from the UK.
I'm from the UK. Amazing.
Yeah, they speak proper English.
I know. I love the accent.
We are the what are we?
Do we sound? Do we sound like Texas people?
No, we do not.
We sound like El
West
Paso
Texas. West
people.
Texas. Yeah. No. Well, thank you guys for commenting. We do appreciate it.
Yeah.
So let's go on. We're gonna finish this.
Okay. Thanks for joining our live. I'm so excited.
Extra cell phone batteries or a charger.
Yeah.
So one thing I wanted to add here is in my conversation with my buddy, who will remain nameless.
Yes.
So this guy, I'll just give you a little tidbit of who he is. So this is the guy that I think our government sends in to destabilize. He's kind of like one of those black ops kind of mercenary type persons.
Yeah, that's his job. That's
what he does. You know, he's kind of like one of the 9 people that does things.
Oh, geez.
So he's probably in the intelligence. So just to give you a tidbit, he's somebody that I work out with, and he also he's probably in his 50s.
Okay.
And he's at the gym doing everything that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Right.
He's a bad mamma jamma.
And then on top of that, he's employed by the US government.
Okay.
But he has probably 3 cars that are each over 150,000.
Whoa.
Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
Find me a military guy driving that kind of stuff. That's
No.
actually in the dirt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying.
So he's doing some stuff.
Yeah.
That's
cool.
The thing that he told me is he's like, well, what happens when the cell phones go out?
Oh, yeah.
He's like, how are you going to communicate?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, you know, what we're thinking about is getting, you know, walkie-talkies.
Yeah. What did he say? That's what my plan is.
Yeah. And he's like, oh yeah. He's
good.
Like,
okay.
Because I was telling him the number one thing that I've come to the conclusion of, and I've had this conversation with you, is that I'm never going to get prepared enough. I'm never going to have all the things. So the thing that I wanted to do is find a group of people, like-minded people that we can get together.
Yeah.
When it happens, to hunker down together.
Yeah.
So when the proverbial hits the fan, and the marauders are going down the street.
Yeah.
Right. They'll avoid our house because there's 10, 15 people here at the house, all armed, ready to
and find out.
Yeah, find out. Right. It's like that chart, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, they'll just go to the more soft target.
Yeah, for sure.
And you just don't want to be a soft target.
No.
So once they realize you're not a soft target, they'll just like, it's not worth it to them.
Yeah, totally.
And so that's what I recommend for everybody out there. More than anything else, well, secondary to everything else. First thing you need to do is you need to get prepared spiritually.
Yeah.
You have to get in the right mindset, and you have to be prepared for whatever is going to happen.
And I think that is so important, because in the future there's going to be so much deception that having a good connection with God is going to help lead and guide you in the right direction. And you're gonna need to be able to see through things in a big way. I think in a way that people can't even imagine.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. People are not ready for what's
gonna happen. No.
There's no idea.
I don't even think I have an idea of what's gonna happen in theory. You know, in the zombie apocalypse, like whatever that is. But I don't even think I have a true idea.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I'll have conversations with people and they're like, no. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the most important thing is you have to get prepared spiritually.
Yes.
And then you have to get prepared with friends, family, and people that you can
Yeah. You'll have a better
rally
chance.
around.
Yeah.
Numbers are going to be more important than anything else.
It
You
is.
could be one person in a house just full of pew pews.
Yeah.
One like you
And
could
you're
have the
not
most
gonna-
awesomest specked out pew pew,
Yeah.
and it's not going to help you.
No. No.
But
you
if
need
you got
people.
if you got 10 girls in a house with revolvers, you know what I mean?
I do. No,
You're
you're
gonna-
gonna need numbers.
You're going to do better.
Well, and you're gonna need numbers for all of it. Like the things that you guys are prepared for is a little bit different than the things that we're prepared for, and then together we're more of a whole unit.
You know what got me down that
preparedness.
thought is there was a show, I can't remember where it was on. It's probably like History Channel or something,
Mhm.
and it was called The Colony. I want to
Oh,
call.
It was a TV show.
It was not a sitcom. It was a reality show,
Oh,
and they would take, I think it was like 10 people, 12 people, and they would drop them somewhere in these different environments.
no, to see if they could survive.
Yes.
Whoa.
And then they would have
that's
like
hard.
things happen to them.
Yeah.
Right. Like people would steal their stuff in the middle of the night. And
Mhm.
then it was like this who could survive the longest.
Mhm.
And whoever survived the longest would win.
Yeah.
Whatever,
That sounds
50,000 bucks or
awesome.
whatever. And it was
And
interesting
terrible.
to see. So each person they would drop in would have a certain type of background.
Mm.
And that's where I thought about it. So
Yeah.
like Jake, he's very
Yeah, my
mechanically inclined. So
he
he
can
could fix
figure out
things.
anything. Yeah.
He could put things together.
Yeah.
He could take things apart. He's very mechanically inclined.
He is.
Yeah. And like the different skill sets that each one of us may have,
Mhm.
you can use it together. And that was what was really interesting about the show. So like what like I have another friend and he's more nurse.
Yes.
He was on the
Health.
pod. He was
Yes.
on the pod.
Yeah. Oscar.
And you need somebody that can be able to medically help in
Yes.
a situation. Who cares if he can build a fence,
yeah.
if he can, do a tourniquet,
Yeah.
or he
Mhm.
can fix a broken leg.
And now, right now, if somebody gets sick, you can go to the doctor, you can go to the store. Like there's so many things that you can do to help. But if there's nothing, if you have only what's in your house and it's ran out,
Mm-hmm.
like what do you do? Do you know what I'm saying? Like how do you fix a fever that's gotten too high for too long?
Wow, they said that they need an indoor pool in the UK. Wow, I wonder why. Maybe because it rains every day. Is that why? Because it rains every day?
I wonder if it gets like dirty and gross faster. Indoor pools are cool. I'm down for an indoor pool.
Yeah, sure. This guy, he wants to work with us on a thumbnail. Sure. Let's talk about it.
Fun.
Yeah,
Yay.
Yeah. Just send us a DM and then we can talk about it.
I love
You can
that.
find us on the easiest one that I'm on is mostly Facebook, and then Vanessa's more on Instagram.
I'm on the Instagram,
and
we're
TikTok.
We are the Red Circle.
The Red Circle
Pod.
podcast. Oh, the pod, not podcast.
Mm-mm.
We're on the pod.
We're on the pod. And then we've had our TikTok taken down, so we have to make another one. And that one's Red Circle Podcast.
Yeah, we have to say pew pew because then
we just keep getting banned on things because we're talking
yeah.
about important things.
Yeah, we just jumped on and started talking at random. So me and Vanessa we're like friends, and our wife and our husband are friends.
Yeah.
And we all hang out all the time. And then one day we were just talking, and I was like, "You would be good on my podcast."
Let's do this.
And I like touch. You know how when you're a conspiracy theorist, you just kind of throw something out there. So what do you think?
Yeah,
about,
you just want to see.
What do you think about 9/11? And then you just see what they say, and they're like,
yes,
like, oh,
I mean, obviously
the commission that the government put together told us the truth. It's like, oh, okay.
Okay, I will not talk to you about this anymore.
Just leave it alone. Just leave it alone.
Yeah. Do you remember like when you realized I was a conspiracy theorist? Do you remember?
Yeah, I don't remember when I figured it out. I think it was about chemtrails.
Oh,
You
they're
said
real
something about
people.
chemtrails.
And my husband does
Does
not
not
believe in them.
chemtrails.
And
Yeah,
it
he
bothers
doesn't.
me to my core. This is like the one thing.
Yeah, he'll give you everything else. You know
He,
what I
yeah,
mean?
he's down. But chemtrails, he's not down.
He's like, it's a lie. Steve.
No, literally, he's like, I'll say, oh, look at, because we get sprayed a lot here.
Oh yeah. Really.
And I'm like, oh, look at the chemtrails today.
Mhm.
They are spraying us a lot. And Jake will go, oh, yeah, those contrails, the contrails that are up there. And I'm like, chemtrails, sir. It's
Yeah,
chemtrails.
because you'll see a plane.
You'll
so
see a real
you see
contrail and
a
it
plane
dissipates.
and it right next to a chemtrail and it'll dissipate.
And, and I'll point that out. And he says, it's because they're at different altitudes. Sir, no, it is obvious. And I've gone on to different government websites.
They've even talked
They
about
talk about it and they
Mhm.
say what they do. And he's
Mhm.
like, yeah, but like, I don't think it's such a large scale. Blah, 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 blah. That's the only thing that we disagree on.
That's so
And
funny.
it bothers me so bad.
Okay, we're gonna get through this list.
Okay.
Okay, so
Chemtrails.
make sure
real.
you get a walkie-talkie. There's another name for walkie-talkie.
No, but walkie-talkies are a really good thing. So my dad works out in the oil fields and they have long distances that they need to communicate on. And so I was asking him.
There's no cell phone service.
There's no cell phone service. And you can get walkie-talkies, but if there is a hill in between you, you can't communicate. So you got to get really good high quality ones, but you can spend way too much. I'll ask my dad the brand that they have because and then the distance is not that far. Like it is, but it isn't. So you need to find something that's good. And then those need to be charged.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure that you have a way to charge them because
Batteries or whatever.
how good is it? And you want reusable because once you're done with your battery, you're done. So we have a couple of walkie-talkies and we have some, my mom has some so that we can calm with her. And she's really close to us. She's like, but there's a lot of trees. So it's going to be hard to communicate with people. And we're just so used to having our cell phones. And when you don't have it, how are you going to communicate with people? It's going to have to be walkie-talkies.
Yeah, that's for sure. So, or you could just buy a bunch of batteries. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of recharging, because if they're rechargeable and you don't have electricity, then you have to have a generator. You have to have solar panels or something like that.
The way that we are recharging ours is we have the brand is called a Jackery, and it is a solar generator. It's basically a huge battery pack.
Oh, okay.
And here in El Paso, there's a ton.
Where'd you get that at?
On their website, jackery.com.
Okay.
Fantastic. Works like a charm. We take it camping with us all the time. You can actually charge it on your wall or you can plug it into solar panels.
Okay.
And it is very durable. It's very smart. They even have ones now, the new ones, they have them so that you can stack them on each other. So it's very efficient.
Especially if you're in a climate not like the UK. Sorry.
I know you're gonna have to figure that out because here it rains like 6 days out of the year, like something crazy little.
We all get excited.
Yeah,
they
like,
close.
Rain.
Like I'll tell you,
it's ridiculous.
They literally close the schools.
The schools get closed. The streets are a mess. Like we cannot. We're desert rats. Like we cannot handle rain.
Here in El Paso too, we also do have tumbleweeds.
We do have tumbleweeds.
So tumbleweeds are real. Like the ones that you see in movies, like Western movies, or
it's going across the road.
The tumbleweed, like literally, we run over tumbleweeds all the time, and they'd explode.
They explode, or they get stuck to your car.
They get stuck to your car, and you drag them, and you have to pull it out.
It's very annoying because they're pokey.
Yeah. So okay.
Squirrel.
Next, battery powered or hand crank radio.
They have a lot of those.
And you
everywhere.
can receive NOAA weather radio tone alerts and extra batteries.
Yes.
So these are like the little radios that you wind up.
And a lot of the newer ones, because we have several of these, they have a little solar thing on top. You can crank it to charge it, and then they have different connections to charge your phone, which is really, really cool.
That's really
if phones are working at that time.
Yeah. And then flashlights, extra batteries, but also you could do, the crank. I have a crank flashlight. First aid kit. This is a big one because they sell them. They're not too expensive. You can spend a couple $100 and you could get like a whole bag, like almost half the size of this table, and it will
have everything.
Have everything.
Yeah.
Tourniquets, bandages, stuff like that.
One thing to think about batteries, and the reason that I'm super down for rechargeable ones is because I was stockpiling batteries, not like crazy style, but I had a shoe, like the plastic shoe containers with the lid, because I want to
Oh,
protect
they
it.
went bad.
They went bad. One of them went
I didn't
bad.
know batteries go bad.
It like popped,
Oh,
and it was
God.
inside. It
my
wasn't too hot. Oh
gosh.
my god. It wasn't too hot. Like I don't know what happened to it, but we had it for several years, and it was on top of all the other ones, so it corroded all of the ones under it. And I felt really sad because batteries are expensive, and I just like ruined like $100 worth, more than $100 worth of batteries, just because one popped or whatever happened and it just corroded all the ones under. So you can have that plan, but you need to make sure that you're prepared for that plan to, go to the wayside. I like rechargeable, but the same thing can happen with rechargeable.
Yeah.
You just got to kind of have a mix of all the things so you can be prepared.
Yeah. And one thing you could do. No, I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
But one thing,
but you could do it.
one thing you could do if you were like my wife or
Mhm.
like
She's
Jake
so prepared.
is that you could cycle them out.
That's
So,
what we would do.
Yeah. So
We
you
would
would just
use 'em.
use them, and then
Mhm.
every so often you would make a schedule where you would
That's how we had it.
So
Yeah,
But
so
the
I
problem is that it's like I'm not gonna remember.
I do that. I have the older ones I had up top, and then the new ones I'd put under, and I'd leave them in because I'd buy the Sam size ones, like the package we
one
have over here.
Yeah.
So it's in like plastic and cardboard,
Mhm.
and I just put the newer ones under. And so, one of the older ones popped and just corroded all of them down.
Wow.
So I
Okay.
had it like that.
Yeah, so that's what I would recommend is make sure you have some type of battery.
Yeah, batteries, and
the
be prepared for it to.
flashlights.
Yeah.
Flashlights. A whistle to signal for help.
Smart.
I've never thought about a whistle.
Yeah.
Give a little whistle. Give a little whistle. Okay. Dust mask to help filter contaminants, air, and plastic sheeting, and duct tape to shelter in place. I like duct tape.
Duct tape is a big one.
Duct tape, you should get like a case of duct tape.
You can have duct tape and it will help you do a
Duct
lot of
tape,
things.
You can do anything.
Yeah, you literally can. And we go every time Jake goes to Harbor Freight, I have him buy a new tarp.
Oh.
So a plastic sheeting tarp, and tarp you can use for so many things. It's crazy. So we have a lot of duct tape and we have a lot of tarps.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
what was the first thing it said?
A dusk.
Oh, okay.
Mask.
So for masks, if you're really trying to help with contamination, you need N95s. You can have other masks, but N95s will filter out virus for a short period of time, 45 minutes.
Not medical advice.
Oh yeah, none of this is medical advice. We're
This is all for
theories.
entertainment purposes.
Exactly. But yeah, N95s are the ones that are really, because Jake does woodworking, so he wears N95s for that, and they will filter out the dust, the tiny dust particles when he's sanding, because you can mess up your lungs.
Really?
Woodworking, yeah. Because imagine breathing in all those tiny dust, wood particles, and then your lungs just get full of wood. Yeah. So N95s, if you're really going to try to filter out things,
that's
are good.
crazy. Okay. Moist towelettes.
It's moist.
Is that like wipies?
Yes.
Garage bags, trash bags.
Yep.
Plastic ties for
zip ties.
Personal sanitation.
Oh, wait. What? Plastic ties?
Plastic ties for personal.
I don't know what that means.
Maybe like if you're zipping off things. I don't know.
Like you get a ton of, you can get packs of like different sizes, different colors of zip ties. Zip ties you can use. They're so cheap.
Harbor Freight.
That's where we get them. And we'll just get a ton. We have a lot of duct tape. We have a lot of zip ties. And we use them though. So I'm always having to like repurchase, which is good.
Non-spackling wrench.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means. And pliers and.
Do y'all know what that means?
Turning off utilities. Turn off utilities. Turn off pliers to turn off utilities.
Oh, got
so like
it.
Your water or whatever.
Yeah.
That's
especially
also your gas.
Yeah.
So like if your gas is kind of like off, you don't want to leave it on. Can openers.
Very important. We moved to a new apartment, our first apartment together, And my plan, the two things that we didn't have that we needed was toilet paper and a can opener.
Mm.
We get there and we were like, oh, we got to go to the bathroom. And then I was planning on making something in a can for dinner. We didn't have a can opener. So those two things are always top of mind for me.
That's interesting.
And a lot of times preppers will have a ton of canned food, but if they're not the top that comes off, you're going to need like several can openers just to
Yeah.
make sure that you can open your food.
Because sometimes they run out. Like
Yeah.
they get dull. Like right
They
now,
get
mine's
dull.
dull.
Yeah. Ours
And it's annoying.
was dull and then it rusted.
Oh, really?
I throw everything in the dishwasher. It's probably my fault. I will not hand wash things. The only time I hand wash things is when I'm here and we'll have dinner together and I'll help with the dishes. I don't wash dishes.
Really?
I hate it
Okay.
with a passion. Nobody likes washing dishes. You hate washing dishes.
Oh, I do too. To can opener.
Mhm.
And then the last thing, let's see if you can guess what the last thing
Oh,
is.
I don't know.
It's a local map.
Oh, I have
Like a normal, basic, old school map. I know the
I have an
Zoomers,
atlas.
the Zoomers out there is like, what's a map?
Map who?
A
We
paper?
don't know her.
You mean GPS?
No, I bought an atlas and it has all of the roads in the US.
Wow.
And it was like $10 on Amazon. We need to get an Amazon list together so that people can purchase these things.
Hey, that'll be cool.
Yeah.
We can make a list.
Yeah. And it has everything. And then, so you can also, if you have a bug out place, like you have a place you know where you're going to go, there's a farm that we know about that is where we will bug out. And I've already mapped it out
on how to get there.
on how to get there, and then alternate routes, because when we go there,
You don't want to take the main streets.
I'm not taking I-10 to get there because that's gonna be a shiitake show. I'm trying to be careful with my words.
Shiitake.
So alternate routes, have those routes, and then I actually told my family about these places so that if we all have to bug out for any reason, my family has the address. And I told them to get a map and make sure they have it mapped out. And I'm sure they haven't. So if they never make it there, I helped and you didn't do your part. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm not entirely sure about bugging out. I have not really prepared anything about bugging out. I don't plan on bugging out.
There's two things. You're either going to hunker down.
Yeah. I'm thinking I'm going to hunker.
Or you bug out. And
then I like my house too because it's all brick.
No, it's great. And your windows are narrow and long. It'd be easy to defend. You have a flat roof. I guess I shouldn't say too much about this.
Yeah, the flat roof. I can like be on top of the roof and
do.
What's the one in Mars Attacks? Right?
I don't know.
Mars Attacks. That makes a weird sound.
Oh yes. Yeah.
I don't know how to make that sound.
Yeah, but so my initial plan is to hunker down. Because when things go crazy, I don't want to be out at the stores. I don't want to be.
Beginning.
You want to stay home. You want to be able to stay home during the craziness. During 2020, because of our food storage, I didn't have to go to the store for 6 months. And the only reason I did go to the store, I think I went to the store for the first time after 3 months, was because I was bored in the house and I was in the house bored. And I was like, let's go to Target. But I didn't need to. I probably longer than 6 months.
It was a good test, I think, for America. I think it was done on purpose.
Yeah.
And I think it was to see how
allegedly
the American people would.
Don't hurt us, YouTube.
How the American people would react.
It is. And that's one of the things with all this stuff too, is that you have to understand they're watching our reaction time, and how long we are going to take it. So let's not take things for too long, please.
Yeah. So if you're liking this video, give us a like and a comment. If you are the U.S. government, give us a super
allegedly
chat, a super chat.
Don't put us on your list, please. Yeah, no, you got to be prepared for all this. This is a great list.
Yeah,
this is a really, and it's
pretty,
a good
pretty
place.
Basic,
good place to start.
If you could get all these things, which it's not that much.
And the main thing too is that you use most of these things anyways, so you can just buy a little extra. Like when I first started prepping, it was in 2017. I had a friend that was in Houston. She had a baby, an infant, and a hurricane went through. And she didn't have formula. She wasn't breastfeeding. So that scared me so much because my daughter was born in that year. And I was like, my baby will never not have food. So that's when I started, because a lot of times people think, oh, you're prepping for the zombie apocalypse or whatever. But truly, It could be anything. It could be a natural disaster, like in her situation. It could be the zombie apocalypse. It
Mhm.
could be that you lose your job and you won't have to spend money on groceries for a little while and you can
Mhm.
focus that money on other things. Like there's no reason to not prep for the stability of your for yourself and your family.
Mhm. It's very interesting. So then the other thing is I would just tell you guys that water, food is going to be the number one thing,
Mhm.
and things to put in the pew pews,
Mhm.
right? And then from that point on, the rest of these things are going to be entirely secondary. So if you wanted to get something, start with 6 months.
Yeah, 6
And
months
6 months
supply.
of food is a lot more than you think it is.
Yeah, it is.
Like we do not realize how
How
much
much we
food we
eat.
eat, especially
Yeah.
me. I
Yeah.
eat a lot. It's like,
Scratches his belly. No, but really, and it
I'm
was
hungry.
funny when I started prepping, I bought a lot of dried beans and dried rice and all of that stuff. And I forgot how long it takes to cook beans. You take for granted that you have a crock pot and
Mhm.
it takes a lot of water and it takes 4 hours worth of energy, the crock pot, to cook that. And so I started doing more canned things because if I can't cook, I mean, we could soak the beans and eat them and they'll be nasty, but you'd get sustenance.
Mhm.
So I kind of started staying away from dried beans because it takes so long to cook those. And you need so much energy.
Yeah.
4 hours
Yeah.
worth
Yeah. Yeah.
of fire or 4 hours worth of electricity, however you're going to be cooking them. I guess if you had a pressure cooker, but I wonder how much energy it would take to use the pressure cooker. I don't know.
Yeah. And I think we're in a unique place here in El Paso because,
We have solar.
well, I think El Paso is also going to be, it's going to be a lot for our grid to go down. I don't feel like our grid's going to go down comparably to other places
I
like
think,
in between.
yeah.
Like if we were in a rural area, that's where the grid's going to go down the most. And or if we're in a city that doesn't have a military base, I feel
Oh,
like
because they're going to want to sustain our grid because we have a
Mhm.
military base. We have Fort Bliss here, and we
Yeah.
have a lot of things here that I didn't even
A lot of military
realize.
stuff.
A lot of military stuff. And then close to us is White Sands in New Mexico,
Missile range.
the missile range. And I have a feeling that they're doing all kinds of stuff there.
Yeah,
We went to White Sands because you
aliens.
can, yeah, you
Aliens.
can go.
The Nephilim.
They're hiding them underground, allegedly. Um, you could go to White Sands and play. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of White Sands. Google it. It's amazing.
Yeah,
It's miles and miles and miles of white sand. It's
literally
so
white
cool.
sand.
It's amazing.
Mhm.
And
And
it
it's not salt. It's not salt. It's like a
no,
gypsum.
it,
It's a
it
gypsum.
yes, yeah, it's that mineral and it's so cool. And so we did a thing at White Sands where we did this special hike and we went down this wrong road and Humvees came and military dudes came and they were like, "What are you doing here?" And we're like, "We're trying to get to a hike." And they were like, "Oh, you turned the wrong way. Go this way." And it was scary. I was like, "I swear we're not bad people. We're
Mhm.
just trying to hike." We had our
Mhm.
kids with us. It was so it just feels like super locked down and like there's
Mhm.
stuff
Mhm.
going on
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
There's a lot here. So
Area
that's a
51.
good that's a good point that our grid they probably want to and it not necessarily us though. It
Mhm.
could just be that they're trying to keep the grid because we're across the mountain from Fort Bliss
Mhm.
and across the mountain
I
from
think also they would be
White Sands,
worried about
the border.
no, like say anything close to their base
Hmm.
getting too chaotic,
Hmm.
because then they wouldn't be able to, then they would
They
have to
wouldn't be able to
spend
maintain it.
resources to do all that.
I bet if that's the case, it'd be the Northeast. It wouldn't be the West Side. That's where
Mhm.
we are.
Mhm.
I'd rather be out in the boonies than be
For sure.
too close
For sure.
to
And that
people.
was the one thing he did mention. We talked about this the
Oh
last time.
yes, this was
Just
interesting.
yeah, he said that if you were going, the person that shall not be named, he's like Voldemort. We're gonna call him Voldemort.
But a good Voldemort that's teaching us how to survive, just in
He
case
said
something
he said
happens.
you want to be at least 25 miles outside of the city.
Yeah, outside of any big city,
He's like, you don't
25
want to be
miles.
too far outside of the city,
Hmm.
so that when they do start giving supplies and giving stuff out,
Oh, they're
that
gonna
you
go to
can
the big
get it,
cities. That's a good
that
plan. I
you
didn't
can
think
get
about
it.
that.
But he's like, but you don't want to be in, so that all the crazy chaos is there. He
Hmm.
says, especially if you have women and children with you, they're going to kind of like, you can stay home
Yeah.
and me and Jake go get stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of like Walking Dead. Somebody said Walking Dead earlier
Yeah.
in the chat.
I think it was Andrew Fung.
That the Walking Dead, like they would, you would send the guys out to go do the stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. And that's a good point, because I always wondered how close you want to be to a big city or how far away. And so his tip was about 25 miles out of a big city. So you're close enough, but far enough so that things won't happen. And we have a military base here. We have other things here. So I think, and I had Googled it one time in the US, what are like the top 20 places that could get attacked? And Fort Bliss was like in the top 10, I think, or like top 12, something like that.
Really?
Yeah. So we're on the top for a potential attack, which is interesting. I wonder who made that list.
So one thing, there's two things I want to go over, and then we're going to close.
Okay.
So one is I just made a funny comment to Andrew before he left that zombies are actually in the Bible.
Oh, yeah. Because people are like, zombie apocalypse, what?
Yeah, people are like, what do you mean? There's no zombies in the Bible. And I was like, well, let me pull it up for you.
Yeah.
So if you will turn to, please,
in your
Revelation 6. Revelations chapter 9, verse 6. Excuse me. In those days shall men seek death and shall not find it. I'm trying to sound cool.
Oh.
And shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them.
And that's a zombie.
Yeah, because if you can't die, but you want to die,
and you're trying to,
yeah, and it's fleeing
and
from
you cannot. That does sound like
it's almost like you're not even in charge anymore.
Ooh. Could you imagine what that means? That sounds creepy.
Okay,
Zombies
so just
are in the Bible.
Fun
In
factoid. But the other thing I wanted to go into was about the possibility of civil war. So in this book, we had not in this book, in this movie that came out, in Tim Pool's podcast.
Okay, he was talking about it.
Yeah, what it is.
Was it on Netflix?
Here, I can't go there. Literally promotes the second civil war, so they're talking about it. But there is a article that talks about the possibility, and it's in the Guardian. So this is not like some, nobody website.
Oh, okay.
And it's in the Guardian. The title of it is "The Next Civil War is Already Here." Dun dun dun. And we just refuse to see it.
Okay.
Gee,
what are they saying about it?
Oh.
or nor.
So it's just talking about how America is divided.
Yeah.
And how we're like the approval rating of Congress, how we openly promote resistance of the federal government.
But I don't think that's a bad thing. We need to be strong and not just fall for anything. Resistance is not bad.
They were training to arm ourselves. And you talk about radical, unachievable, like freedom is what they're talking about. This
I feel like that's propaganda. Like anybody who has any kind of other thoughts, they're calling you radicals. Like, stop it.
Well, Biden said that I guess the Trumpers are literally a terrorist group now.
Isn't that crazy?
And then
what a thing to say.
Talks about J6. It talks about J6, and that the Capitol Police have seen threats against members of Congress increase by 107%. So
there's definitely unrest, but there's been unrest in a big way since 2020. We've seen it happen on all kinds of different groups. There is unrest and unhappiness with certain situations.
So you also see historical instances of unrest. So like there was the what was it, the Summer of Fire or whatever, where all the cities were burning.
Oh, in 2020.
No, this was in like the 60s and 70s.
Oh, okay.
So there was a lot of that rioting and stuff
Mhm.
like that.
Mhm.
Very anti the Vietnam War.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then it was also racism. We had the big race riots
Mhm.
in the 90s. And then you had what was going on in
In
the
2020.
2020s, if that's a thing.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about Civil War? I haven't felt like I felt like there's a lot of unrest, but I haven't felt like there's any movement happening that's super against our government.
Hmm.
But I don't know if you guys have noticed or heard about all the things on the border that's going on in Eagle Pass and what Governor Abbott's doing. So right now, Border Patrol is the one that's in charge, and is Border Patrol federal, like
Hmm.
federally funded? So our president is allowed to tell Border Patrol what to do. So Abbott has come in and he has had our National Guard take over a section
So it's
of Eagle Pass.
Eagle Pass. Yeah.
And they are putting up razor wire. They're not allowing people to come in. And technically, that's not their jurisdiction, but it is.
Hmm.
And they're fighting it legally right now.
Hmm.
And people are talking about civil war because of this. And
Yep.
so the Border Patrol has backed down because they don't want a fight. But they're trying to go through it legally.
Hmm.
And Governor Abbott's like, no, this is my jurisdiction. This is my state. This is what we're going to do to protect ourselves.
Hmm.
And
And what was the conflict? I know what it is, but tell the people what the conflict is.
so I think it's just mainly that they don't want all of the people, the illegals flooding over the border the way it's happening.
Because the Border Patrol is just taking their information
Yeah.
and then letting them in and
And
giving them an
exactly.
arraignment for
And
2 or 3 months from now that they don't have to
It's like 2 or
necessarily.
3 years from
Yeah.
now. It's like super backed up. Yes.
Mhm.
And the normal process is that if you really are going to try to come in and what's it called? Seek asylum.
Mhm.
You have to come in through a port of entry. There's specific spots where you're allowed to come in.
Ellis Island.
Yeah, is
Think
a port
of
of
like
entry.
Ellis
Yeah,
Island, yeah.
exactly.
Like that's where a lot of them came over from
Mhm.
Europe.
And then you have to do a process. And there's paperwork. It's expensive. A lot of times people need lawyers. It's a complicated process.
Mhm.
But they're bypassing the process and they're just saying come on in. And a
Mhm.
lot of people are saying that's not true. That's not what's happening, especially because our president is saying that's not true.
Mhm.
His people are saying that's not true. But the reality of the situation, like what's actually happening, which is what is true, is that they're taking their information down, and it's not even true information because it's easier. So the cartels are helping them get in.
Oh, tell them about that. They have to give an address of where they're going to
Yeah.
live.
Okay, so the cartels are telling them how to get into the country easier, and a lot of times you have to pay with your body, with your money.
The coyote.
The coyotes, the
The
coyotes.
coyotes.
That's what they're called. The people that smuggle people in are called coyotes.
And they all work for the cartel.
Yeah, it's all cartel run.
Mhm.
And so they're teaching people how to get in easier. So number one, you don't want to have any identification. So they're these people from all over the world. People really think that it's just people from Mexico coming in. No, no, no. Central America, South America, um, uh, Russia. I was going to say Canada, Russia, China, a lot from the Middle East. You can go to the government website, Homeland Security website, and you can see
The numbers.
the numbers.
And that's only the ones that they find.
That's the ones that they have hands on. They don't catch all the people coming over.
Mhm.
So the numbers are crazy. It's military aged men,
Mhm.
and they're from all over the world. And we
Mhm.
don't know who they are because they will ditch their documents. How do we know this? Because the people that are on the border, I follow this guy named Ben, and he's amazing. He shows everything that's going on. There'll be bonfires with passports, identification cards. They'll trying to burn them, or just piles of trash, and in it identification cards because it's easier to get in without identification. So if you don't have identification, you can pretend you're anybody. And then what did you want me to talk about? Okay. So I know somebody that does background checks for the Border Patrol.
We know a lot of people that are in this world
Yeah.
because we're all in this world.
Yeah,
We're on
we
a
live
border
on the
city.
border.
So our like we literally can throw a rock and hit Mexico.
Yeah,
Not from
literally.
my house, but like there's
From the
parts
freeway,
from
you
the
can.
freeway
Yeah,
you can just stop
Yeah.
and throw a rock and you can hit the other side of Mexico. Like
very
you
easy.
see it right there.
Yeah, you see it.
It's our sister city.
It
We're
is. Juarez
literally
is our sister city.
we're literally joined.
Mm-hmm.
Like El Paso and Juarez grew together.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You know,
And
a lot
we
of
have
people
love for
work.
Mexico. We
A
have
lot of
love for
people.
Juarez.
A lot of people work over there or work here,
They'll
and then go back and live
transport.
over there. So
A lot of kids from Mexico will go to school here in America. It's very interesting.
90% of our traffic is because of the border,
Mhm.
trying to get over the bridge. It
Mhm.
backs all the way up to the freeway.
Yeah, it's crazy. So this guy that I know, he was doing background checks to see. There was a man from the Middle East that was coming in, and I think they. Oh, okay. So you, when you get caught, they will ask where you're going to live, like where you're going to be housed. And so he gave an address and looked it up. And the address was a Jack in the Box across the street from Franklin High School on the west side. And so my friend shows him, and there's a translator there. And so he shows the translator and they shows the dude. He's like, "This is where you're going to live." And the guy was like, "Yes." And then he was like, "Okay." And he has to let them in. Like that's how the process is working right now. So on this guy's documentation, he's living at Jack in the Box, but he's not, obviously.
Yeah.
There's just no.
There's no beds at Jack in the Box.
No, it's just it's dangerous. All of this stuff that's going on is very dangerous.
Yeah. So I would just say, I don't know where we got off on all this topic, but for sure you have to get prepared.
Yes.
You have to get
for
your
you
family
and for your
prepared.
family.
And the one thing I would tell you that's a good thing, and this is what I tell my wife because she freaks out, and it's my thing, is that if we go to if we're in the forest, like say there's 20 people in the forest, and we come across a bear, I don't have to outrun the bear. I just have to outrun one person. At least one person. One person has to be slower than me.
Yeah.
Because that person's going to get eaten.
Yeah.
So to survive and to have your family survive through these things, you have to be able to just at least do 10, 20, 30% better than the average person in America.
Yeah.
And the average person in America is not
prepared at all.
Listening to any of this.
No, they don't
their
think
head
anything's gonna
is in
happen.
the sand. Or if you don't have to necessarily be in America, you can be in the UK. Like UK is probably closer to all this stuff than we are.
Oh, dang.
We have an ocean between us. You know what I mean? Like the UK, they got bombed nonstop during World War II. You know what I mean? They like people talk bad about British people, but British people are tough.
Yeah, they are.
They went through, especially those World War II veterans. They went through it.
Yeah, the whole.
They were in the war for the whole time. We just showed up at the end of it.
Yeah.
You know, like in the Western movie. You know, you know, hey, we're here. They're like, where you guys been? You know, it's like, oh well, you know,
now we're here. I guess
we're having a barbecue. Because barbecue is very American.
It is.
So, yeah, like if you're in Europe, if you're in the Middle East, if you're in, Africa, like, yeah, it's going to be tough. If you're in Asia, everywhere.
Yeah.
We're the only one that's really isolated from that world conflict. The only thing that we would have to really worry about here in the States, I think, is the cartel. It's the enemy in our own backyard.
That we're allowing to be here and allowing to do all these things. They literally, the Ben guy that I was telling you about on Instagram, he's shown the houses that the cartel has for safe houses that are in the US. He's like, that's a cartel safe house. This is a cartel safe house. Like, it's known. And how did he find out what that is? He found out from the Border Patrol agents. Like, they know, the government knows who's doing what. Why are they allowing it? I don't know. We're going to find out one day, hopefully.
The truth is going to
be going to come out
exposed. So I hope this helps you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Yes. Like and subscribe.
Yes. And
share
thanks
it
for joining us on our first live.
Thanks for the comments.
Yeah, and that was so exciting.
if you have a topic that you'd like us to talk about next, let us know.
Yeah.
And if you if you want to work with us, you want to help us out like this gentleman that talks about it,
reach out to us.
We're more happy to help you guys.
Yeah.
Love you guys. God bless.
Thank you. Bye. Bye. Okay, what does it say?
It says your stream will stop immediately.